officially our last January rendezvous. Thanks for coming. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce our Chief Operating Officer, Jeff Rash.
Our learning management program is really doing great. We launched it this last year. We've got a lot of suppliers on board, a lot of videos on board, and we are moving at a rapid pace. We're booking the schedule up. We want all of our suppliers in the LMS program. We're pushing very diligently on that. Somewhere around the neighborhood of 80% of our sales volume is currently on, as far as the membership goes, currently on LMS, and everybody is moving forward and getting on at a rapid pace. This is one of the biggest no-brainers for us. To be able to take your message and multiply yourself or your sales force's messages to our 40,000 employees thousands and thousands of times consistently is just an absolute guaranteed way to increase your sales. I don't want you to take my word for it. I want to bring out some of the members today, let them tell you a little bit about their experience, how they're using the LMS program, what it's done for their company so far. And remember, we're in the infant stages of it. But first is Mr. Dan Hinkey. You guys give him a big round of applause. Okay. Mr. Dale Matson is coming out for us. Give Dale a big round of applause. Mr. Mark Schmidt, our board president, please give him a big round of applause. Now, this next gentleman has a very fragile ego, all right? We really need to raise the roof for this. If you feel the need to stand, that will be okay. You're probably going to be moved to that anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for our very own Dennis Reed.
Thank you very much. You know, they just asked me yesterday if I would be willing to come out here and say a few words about the LMS system, and at first I really wasn't too interested. And then they said that these lights would make me look skinny. So, is this working? I guess not. Thanks anyway. So, actually, I guess I'll go first. Our company, which is Runnings, we spend a lot of time, we spend a lot of money on training our employees. We hired a full-time learning management system coordinator for our company. Their only job is to train our employees and work with this learning management system. A trained employee will sell 50% more than an untrained employee. So I would say for the members and the vendors that are in this room today, if you could stop and think about your business, your stores, your manufacturing, your rep group, if you could get a 10%, a 15% increase in sales in your store or your rep group or your manufacturing company with the volume that Mid-States does, how much revenue, how much profit would that drop to your bottom line? It would be absolutely astounding, unbelievable. 50% would be crazy, but just 10 or 15%. And I guess my message is this learning management system that Mid-States has started is going to allow you, the vendors, to train our 40,000 employees within the Mid-States organization. Very economically. It's your content. You own it when it's done. So I would just say, for your sake and for our sake, if you aren't signed up, if you haven't planned your training sessions with Mid-States on the LMS system, you should quickly get in line and quickly do it. It's probably the best thing that Mid-States has ever done.
Very good, Dennis, and thank you. Look, you're pointing at me, so I must be next. I would tell you that in my 25 years of being involved in Mid-States, this would be probably one of the most impactful things we've ever launched. And the reason I know that is because, as most of you in this room know, you can buy anything you want, but it only counts when it goes through that cash register. And with a 40% average turnover rate in this industry, even if we trained everybody we had today, how many of them would be left next year at this show? But let me hit you where you really live, and that is, I mentioned 25 years ago. 25 years ago, one of our buyers who's way in the back, Mike Wellman and I, this is our first show. And I would argue that Mike is one of the best buyers I've ever worked with and one of the best in this room. And when we launched our learning management site about 3 weeks ago, I found out that Mike had not only been asked to do videos. He volunteered before anyone else, any of the other buyers in the office that even wanted to sign up or was asked to sign up. And the reason is, even though Mike over the years has done a tremendous job training on merchandising and how to sell product, he knew after 25 years of being here that you're going to sell a lot more product when you've got trained associates. So I can tell you from talking to Mike and knowing how he works that if all other things are equal or even remotely close to equal, the vendor that can provide the learning management for ours, which is called the Outfitter, will be the vendor of choice. Because we know, as Dennis mentioned, even if it's only 10 or 15%, why as a buyer would you not go with that vendor? So it's not just another marketing ploy, it's not just a bunch of shareholders up here, it's the Mike Wellmans and the rest of the buyers in this crowd today that are going to say, vendors, we want you on LMS because we want to just sell more stuff.
Both Dan and Dennis have said some tremendous things, and I really got to echo, I agree 100% with everything they've said. For those of you who don't know, I'm with L&M Supply. We're just a smaller member up in northern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin, and we took on our LMS, which is called the Lodge, about 3 months ago, and I just wanted to share some of our success stories and some of how it's kind of impacted our culture and is kind of changing us for the better. We've currently, up to this point, after 3 months of use, our staff has completed 30,000 different modules. And we have roughly 650 employees, so if you do the math there, that's pretty substantial. We're in the process of making it where they're required for more people, but right now, the couple that I'm giving you examples were not required of every employee. But we had 300 of our employees basically voluntarily complete both the YTL module and the MyPillow module. So if you look at that, that's about 40% of our employees that went on and did that, and we're seeing it in sales results. It is just something that, as far as our company, when somebody comes on board, it's an expectation they're going to be going through their orientation and things like that before they even start through our LMS site. So it is probably one of the biggest things that I've been involved in with Mid-States over the years, and it's really going to transform us all for the better. And so I really appreciate everybody that has jumped on board, and appreciate everybody consider this and jump on it. Thank you.
Mark Schmidt with D&B Supply. We jumped on about a year ago, and we've committed to the, excuse me just a second. Dennis, my wife, texted, and she said, you got two problems. The lights neither make you look skinny, and they make you look short. I can solve, Jeff, will you come out here? I want to solve the short problem.
I'd like a second opinion.
Kidding aside, you know, we're up here and we're pitching something that we honestly believe in, and what you've heard is from the office on how important the office thinks it is. I'm going to tell you from a membership standpoint, we're invested, and I'm sure some of my buyers and some of my teams in the room, and sometimes it takes just short of an act of God to add another person to our staff. We run pretty tight, but we've done that. We've invested in that. We've invested in the system, and Derek has done a great job. And I just need to bring this to ground. And what I really pulled up here is we've been on since January 4, and we get what Derek refers to as a week location report by week. I got all 13 stores on here. And Jeff, if you've heard Jeff, he's got a lot of things that he says, and he said that which gets measured gets improved, right? And so we measure, first of all, average number of completions per team member at a location, number of completions last week, number of logins, number of active users, average number of logins, and the percentage of the team members that's logged in since January 4th, since our inception. I'm not going to go over it, but I will tell you that our leading store right now has 13,494 completions, and that's just one store, and they're ranked down below. And then we measure the number of team members that have the stores that have 100% of their team members on, and right now nine of our 13 locations have 100% of every team member that has logged on and completed modules. That's the good news. The bad news is our number one store with the number of completions last week. The number of completions last week was only 42. The next lowest store is like 198. What's the problem there? The problem there is my leading store is running out of content, because what we've got now, what we put on is all DNA content, and there's a little bit of internal content that we've developed and a little bit of content out of Mid-States. But what we really need is the Mid-States LMS to be full. The hardest thing that we're doing is keeping it full and keeping the content available for the team members. They're consuming it faster than we can produce it. And the reason why this comes out is the other thing is competition breeds excellence. When it is being used, it will continue to be used, and I think it's probably been one of the most informative, effective tools that we've put in our business since I've been around.